And we're back 12 weeks out from the meet today. And when I signed up for this meet, it was the day after I ripped the pec off. And like, the reason I signed up for this meet was to give me something to aim for, give me something to shoot for, give me something to work my way towards. And it wasn't with any intent of doing good in the slightest. Like I did not think that I would even be able to bench the bar based on the prognosis that I was given. Like I just thought, like, if I can get there, if I can just put up a total, token everything, have a good time, hang out with my training partners that are competing at the same day, that would just give me something that would stop me from spiraling downwards into just realizing how, or acknowledging how fucked that I felt I was. And as I'm getting better, like, I'm starting to realize that I might not be that screwed in terms of performance at this meet, which is almost tricky because I don't want to pull the trigger and push too hard and make similar mistakes that I have in the past. But at the same time, it's like, I also want to do the best that I can do. And the rest of this prep is going to be a balancing act, figuring that out and figuring out how to best like strategize squat and deadlift along with bench and see if I can at least put together something cool on the platform. And we are squatting again today, and I'm kind of getting some thoughts going on squats and like still a little bit away from figuring it out based on the last couple of weeks, but I'm getting closer and closer and closer to figuring it out, which means we might do something a little bit adventurous.
Hip flexors, yeah. Head, yeah. Yep. Head, set.
And what I did last week to make sure that squats actually happen today is I worked my ass off on improving thoracic mobility, shoulder mobility, so I can get under the bar in a better position. And then now all I gotta do today is just make sure I get tight as shit so I can actually use it.
Yep. Head. Yep.
And I've been kind of screwing myself in warm-ups on the previous weeks because when it's light, I've just been getting like comfortably tight. Like I've been like, oh, I'm tight enough for this without realizing how not tight I actually am. And then when the bar gets heavy, it's like, fuck, this feels terrible. This feels so fucking heavy because I'm just not being assertive enough with my lock-in, with my brace, with my tightness. So like, goal for today is tight as fuck from the get-go. And I know like this is something that's so basic that you should be treating lightweights like they're heavy, but when you're coming back from something and you haven't lifted something heavy for a long time, you tend to forget what it's like to treat heavy weights, and you like underestimate how tight you need to be. And that's just been the problem. I've been underestimating how tight I need to get, so we are getting tighter. Kind of got to go poop, but gonna save it for the next set. Not during the next set, after the next set.
Hip flexors on. Oh.
Felt pretty okay. And circling back to the start of this video, start of this training session, when I signed up for this meet, I signed up in sleeves because I didn't even know if I really would be able to squat, and I didn't want to be in wraps if I didn't know that I'd be able to squat. And then as the prep went on, as things started to get better and feel better and like figure things out, it became like I'm doing it in sleeves because doing it in sleeves will be easier. Doing it in sleeves will be less variables. Doing it in sleeves will be less to figure out. And that kind of was carried by the fact that my last two meets in wraps weren't very good showings. Like my last meet in wraps, obviously, like I squatted 915 in the gym, squatted 903 on the platform just because I didn't do my fucking job on the platform. Meet before that in wraps was at 242. I squatted 400 kilo in the gym and then only squatted 854 on the platform. So like, I haven't performed in wraps, and I'm thinking like, fuck, if I haven't performed in wraps the last two meets, it's like, yes, sleeves is a safer option. Sleeves is a smarter option, but that safer and smarter option isn't going to help me figure out my shit so I actually can squat and wraps. And like, when I think about my goals as a powerlifter, my goals are not to be a good sleeve squatter. My goals are to be a good wrap squatter. Like, yes, I want to squat good in sleeves, but sleeves are a side quest, not the real deal. So fuck it, we're putting on wraps on, we're figuring this shit out. Yes. He's fired up for that talk and might have made him a little bit too saucy for 606.
Into the wrap.
Head. Into the wraps.
Weigh in.
That was a little weird. It felt like I was gonna have a ton, and there wasn't anything there.
That's kind of an unnerving feeling.
And that's like why I cut it.
Okay. Yeah, like from the front it looks pretty good too, so I wasn't sure.
And stupid thing I did there is I thought that I wanted to ease into wraps with a softer pair of wraps, and it felt like at the top there was a lot of wrap there, so I broke super aggressively, shoved in, then I was like, I'm free falling, there's nothing there, so I put the brakes way too hard and cut that a little bit high. So no more stupid choices. Back to Old Faithful, EWS Patriots. They are like soft-ish, but then they lock up really hard, so they give a ton of stopping power, and that is what I'm used to. So let's just do what I'm used to instead of trying to fuck around with something new. And like, could I learn to use the soft wraps with more spin? Probably, but these work, so why fuck with it?
Yeah. Into the wraps.
Yeah, that's better. So like, where's the camera? So like, these wraps versus those wraps, because those wraps are so much like stretchier and more compressive, it feels like there's more tension at the top, and it makes me like think like, fuck yeah, there's gonna be so much support, and then I break and it's like, there's no fucking support. Whereas these ones, they don't feel like there's a ton at the top, so I'm more like precise with my break. And then when I hit the hole, it's like, holy shit, there's a fuck ton, and then it's a fun time. What I tell people is that the knee wrap doesn't matter as much as whether or not you're used to the wrap's character, because if you know how a wrap loads and you know how to push in the wrap and you know how to rebound to the wrap and you trust how the wrap is going to bind, trusting the wrap is going to be the most important factor. And I trust those Patriots a hell of a lot more than I trusted the stretchier things. And that last one showed me that I still can trust these wraps and I know how they're going to respond. So let's dig in, trust them, do a little better. How many? Ha
Trust it.
Mine!
Lock it all in. Wedge.
Patient.
Yeah, looks like into the wraps. Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking jokes! Ha ha!
Let's go, come on.
Mine!
Come on, head on. Let's go, come on. Be fucking patient. Here it is, let's go.
And, yep.
That's clean, let's go.
Wraps.
Into the wraps.
Weigh in.
Oh. Hey Sam, when I'm done rapping, could you just make sure it's on the next song? Put on the next song when I'm done rapping?
Yeah. Go right here in a minute.
Yeah. We got time.
Okay. Let's go. Lock it in.
Let's fucking go. Patience.
Right. Oh.
Into the wraps.
There you go.
Ah! Woo! And a bunch of spotters had to leave, so safety first. Remember, I had the mono straps in the car. And this isn't like me being afraid of it. It's more like me going, if something fucks up, I want to make sure that nobody gets fucked up. This mono is so goddamn tall. Well, I figured I fucking have them, right?
Yeah.
And like, worst case, then no one dies.
Yeah.
I'm not planning on missing, obviously.
Fucking go, Seth. Come on. Seth, let's fucking go. Come on. Patient.
Posterior expansion. Head.
Nope. Price isn't gonna do it. Kinda feel like a puss for not just head mutton bar, getting back under and taking it, but I need to be more okay with feeling like a puss in training if I want to not keep needing to have orthopedic surgeon appointments. And like, not stoked with that in the slightest. And it's like when I got under the bar, and like when I got set, like when I started like applying pressure and setting brace, it was just like chatter. And it's like that kind of chatter feeling is what happens when squats are on the borderline of being out of control for me. And like, this was by far the heaviest I've gone since the pec, so part of it might be that, part of it might be needing to just get better at bracing under the squat bar like I've been kind of struggling with. Part of it might be needing to just keep building up torso, but the sets up to that point, those were by far the best it has been since the pec surgery. So definitely can't be unhappy with the day, even if the top set didn't even get taken. So is what it is. Is what it is. Can pretend that I'm proud of myself for shutting her down. At least say that to the camera, even though, like, again, internally going to be kicking myself a little bit. But it just comes back to the whole, like, I know the attitude I had on the days where things did get blown off, and being 12 weeks out, I don't think it's worth that little bit of risk. And if you are someone who errs on the side of being, too conservative, this advice might not apply to you, but I am someone who errs on the side of not being too conservative. So yeah, guess I better get my shit together and crank through some accessories. And I figure because I did a lot more squats on the way up there, gonna run the squat mornings a little bit lighter-ish this week and really just focus on the pull and the feel of them. You can definitely feel how tired my torso is there.
Yeah, that's more like it. Yep.
Yeah, I'm tired. Knees are feeling a little kerchonky, so I'm going to use these to get into them. Put that patellar complex under a little load at length and make sure they're lubed up for the next session. And it kind of comes back to the old, you leave the gym stiff, you're going to be stiff. So if something is stiff after the main movement, do some moving with it on an accessory. You're good to go, dude. Don't worry about it.
Wasn't sure if it.
I mean, you'll be in the shot, I think, but whatever. A little more on the stack. Yeah, fucking gross. There we go. Took a couple, figure out the balance. So just like leaning back, shoving knee. Leaning back, shoving knee. It's getting dirty ass quad bump. Need a little more knee on this one. There we go. And a little lighter, higher rep on these as well. Still trying to squeeze the crap out of the ass and almost like drive my pelvis through the pad to lever the weight up to the top. And I am like extending lumbar spine at the top, but only after I'm actually making sure that I'm getting my hips through. And on the days when you feel a little bit fried after the main movement, like you still want to and should try hard in accessories, but you also want to find a way to make accessories hard in a manner that it won't totally dig you into a gigantic fatigue hole. If I wasn't doing the whatever handle is left on the pull down machine strategy, probably would have never used this regular neutral, but actually feels really nice. Nice squeeze, nice stretch. Looking back, thinking about what I need to be targeting torso strength wise, the last time like I was really required to push torso training hard was the meet prep where I ended up squatting 1102 multi on meet day. And like since then, transitioning back to raw, I was kind of able to just like cruise on the torso strength that I built during that multi-ply meet prep, because like holding 1102 in your back is a hell of a lot more challenging on the torso than 900 raw is or was. And like, if I want to start busting past that 900 raw, it's like the limiting factor is going to be stability. It's the limiting factor is going to be controlling that barbell and like having not really pushed the torso hard since that 11, having a couple injuries that have kind of like taken torso training away a little bit, like no fucking shit, I need to start cranking on it again. And it's like the target needs to be like beating what I was doing as a multiply lifter, because I'm trying to start squatting close to what I was squatting multiply raw. So let's do it. And like, this ain't there yet, but we ain't gonna get there if we don't start somewhere. Try to carry the kettlebell a little higher. Make the lever longer. A little more nasty. In a way, I feel like ripping the pec off was the closing of Act 2 of my powerlifting career. Act 1 was the full send kid that just tried his balls off and got very strong, but was banged up to the point that he wasn't even sure if he could continue on in the sport. And that led me to go down to Florida to learn, to grow, to acquire both knowledge and skill as a lifter and a coach. And then I came back here with all that knowledge and skill, and I turned that into the best meet prep I've had of my powerlifting career. I was the strongest I had ever been on the day where my pec ripped off, but we know how that panned out. Like squats, I didn't put it together. Bench, I ended up in the hospital, and I barely got to try on deadlifts. And it's like, up to that point, I had all of the knowledge I needed to be a great lifter, but I still hadn't confronted one last thing. And like, that thing is that I needed to confront is me, myself, my head, my ego. And if I want to reach my potential as a lifter, that is the thing that I need to not necessarily tone down, but get a handle of so that it's working with me, not against me. And I think that the last 2 training days, like the bench where I didn't lower the weight because I decided that it wasn't worth the risk, and I decided that it wasn't the wise decision to push through it. Today, where I felt that I wasn't going to be strong enough to stabilize that 370 squat, like, I hate that those were the choices that I made. Like, internally, I'm freaking screaming because that is so against who I used to be. But if I don't make those changes, who knows? Maybe I would have ripped my pec off again Friday night. Maybe I would have blown something on my leg off again had I taken that squat. And yes, of course, there is the chance that I could have just sent it and done it and came out from under that squat, headbutted the bar, got pissed off, and went back in. But like, what would have I had gained from doing that on this day at 12 weeks out? And I don't think there would have been much to gain. And if I look at every set up to that point, comparing that to the previous weeks, every set up to that point was an absolute win, because the things that I needed to improve, my pick, my tightness, my brace, they all had improved up to the set where it wasn't something that I needed to fix. It was something that I just need to get stronger through torso and get more locked in order to overcome. And that proves to me that I'm on the right path. And I think that, if anything, not taking that top set was the biggest win of the day. So that's what I got. Personal growth, couple of training sessions. And like, yeah, it would have been sick to squat that today, but it also is way, way, way more sick to know that 4 weeks down the road, I'm going to be able to smash something way better than that. And on meet day, I'm going to be able to make that look like a last warm-up. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Peace out. Have a good rest of your day.